You didn't pick that up, and I think he's probably right. And with me, two of the happier managers in the Football League, I think it's fair to say, because tomorrow they lead out their teams at Wembley to play for this little trophy. It's not so little, actually. It's massive, the Milk Cup trophy. It's quite heavy, too. They are, of course, Norwich manager Ken Brown and Sunderland manager Len Ashurst. It just occurred to me, the two of you actually had long playing careers. Did the two of you ever meet on the pitch and swap studs?
Swap studs? In our days, then, it was the knock-in stud. There wasn't no screw-in stud then.
But you never actually met as players on the pitch?
I think we did, but I can't remember it too well.
All right.
He remembers playing against Charlie Hurley, our centre-half of the 60s, and I played in that side. But you see, we were so insignificant as players, we can't remember each other on the pitch.
How very modest. International caps for both of them, let me remind you.
We're both defenders, you see.
That's right. The forwards steal all the thunder. Let's just make you briefly unhappy, Ken, by showing the Norwich against Sunderland meeting took place last week. I suppose many people said when Norwich lost it that, well, they'll win the cup now, but that's the strange way that superstitions work. I think we can see now the Norwich-Sunderland match at Carrow Road, and good news for you, is a great goal from your boys. Really stylish goal. Here it is.
Sunderland took an early lead at Carrow Road when Wallace ran on to a through ball by Hodgson to fire past keeper Woods. In the 32nd minute, Sunderland went further ahead when from a free kick, Wallace again nudges on for Downs to get the final touch. But just before half-time, Norwich pulled one back, with Shannon beautifully controlling the ball before sending an overhead kick square to Dean, who headed firmly home. In the final minute of the game, Sunderland wrapped it up when, catching Norwich overcommitted on the attack, they broke out for Hodgson to convert Gales's cross.
Well, there you go, but the cup's such a totally different matter, that's almost irrelevant. But I suppose Mick Channon's been going on all week about that, has he?
Yes, you know what Mick is. You can't stop him. He just keeps going on and on.
Yeah.
He's like good wine.
Good wine indeed. Rather than describe your own team's strengths, how about just having a quick natter about the opposing strengths? Ken, if you were to describe the Sunderland team and the people, the danger points that you'd watch out for, what would you pick out? Who would you pick out?
Well, they would work very, very hard. Len's style is that. I mean, they do work very, very hard. We know that. And they've got players that's got flair. They can turn games, as they did last week. I mean, they've turned a game that looked as if we were supposed to have won, over and done with, but then they've turned it inside out for us.
Well, there you are, Ken. Lots of... you're obviously a very, very dangerous team. What about the opposition?
I've just been making some notes
yes.
there.
Well, now you've got to be equally kind. What about you?
I think that I've already gone on record as saying that I admire Asa Hartford and Mick Shannon, who we've just seen. He seems to go on, and he's been blessed with this lovely athleticism, you know, 37, and he's still going strong. Two strikers, Shannon and the boy Dean, and they're strong at the back. But more important, they're well organised, and that's a tribute to this fella. And they've been playing together for quite a while, and I think the team theme comes through in both sets of sides.
Now, with the best will in the world, you couldn't describe the meeting of the two teams as the most glamorous final on earth. I think you both concede that. On paper, not the most glamorous anyway. But in a sense, do you feel it reflects football most accurately? There's about 80 clubs that cannot indulge in big transfers. You fellas, in a sense, have to act on a tightrope, don't you?
We do, very much so. Myself now, I haven't spent any transfer money for the past 2 years or so. The side I eventually got together started, what, 3 to 4 years ago. And I hopefully was buying, not only for the present, but for the future as well. Yes. And so far, it's been going quite well.
And Len, this is the other side of football in a sense, isn't it?
Most definitely, yes.
You can remember from your days as a player and as a manager that life is not all big transfer fees, is it? No,
I think the media, you see, tends to take over the sort of 6 or 8 glamour clubs in the Football League, and you tend to forget there are 80-odd other clubs, and that's why we compete for such things as this. It gives you a chance to get through and have your little bit of glory.
They get bigger lunches up at places like Spurs and Manchester United.
Oh, well, it's funny you should mention that, because I was manager at Hartlepool and we never used to get any pre-match meals, you know. That's the other end of the scale.
I meant the media, you see, because what Michael is saying there, I mean, yes, maybe not glamorous, but it's no less glamorous for the fans of Norwich and Sunderland who'll travel there tomorrow, just as much anticipation. And because they're not on these guys, players, are not on the newspapers every day for either being out with strange women or crashing motor cars.
Not yet, anyway.
No. But
wait till Sunday night.
You still get it. I bet you Wembley will still be full.
Yeah. Full of supporters who we hopefully will actually parade with equal honour and none of the nasty events that we've seen recently. I mean, I think you've described this as the family final, haven't you?
It is. I honestly believe that. I mean, we've played at Roker Park on a number of occasions, and we've been clapped off the park there for the way we've played, you know. And likewise, at our place now. I mean, our supporters, I think, are second to none when it comes to behaviour. I've gone on record also of saying that we were at Derby and we did play terrible last year. Really, and there was 10,000 of them there. And they just accepted it and went home without any problem whatsoever. Now, those are the sort of things that don't get mentioned,
Yes.
which annoys me up to a point, because there's such a lot of good things in football.
Len, you were one of the most violent voices, in fact, against hooliganism earlier in the week, weren't you? I mean, if there was any kind of spectacle tomorrow, do you think you'd question your own role in soccer in the future?
Oh yes, I think so, because I think Ken and I and our teams and our sets of supporters typify what the game should be all about, with due respect to a lot of other clubs in the Football League. I don't want to... the national anthem tomorrow, I'd love to have everybody singing it in tune, nice and loud. I'd like to see at the end of the game, we'll shake hands, and our two assistants, Mel Machin and Frank Burrows, will. And it'll be that type of occasion, and I hope that the fans mingle with each other and give the game of soccer a big lift, because we do need it in view of what's happened in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Always fascinated to know what you fellas say to each other in the sun. Are you two going to have a good rabbit, swap a few dirty jokes?
Well, I'll ask what he's had for breakfast, I expect. You know.
Yes.
Who's going to win this game, please?
Oh, no, that's the one
I think
question
the
I
one who
was
scores the
going to
most goals will come out on top on that one.
Come on, fellas, prediction time. I want to know which set of bets I should put down.
Ask Greasy. He's never been right yet, has he? You'll lose anyway.
Do you notice we're keeping a discreet distance away from this thing?
I was going to say, actually, do you want to touch this cup, both of you, now?
No.
Go on.
You've got superstitions about it.
No. I brought my lucky cuff... I'm not superstitious, but I brought...
Not superstitious.
Oh, look,
He's brought his lucky cufflinks.
You're falling
and
apart,
below.
actually, over there.
with me having my home in South Wales, I brought some Welsh cufflinks. That's the only thing I'm superstitious on. I'll wear those tomorrow.
There's
But I don't want
a
to
few clubs down in Wales that could do with you back as a manager, actually, but we won't go further into that.
Okay,
Oh,
Len
that's
and
below
Ken,
the belt, that.
thank you very much, chaps, for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to young Master McGrath over there, and of course to Mr. Morris.
Yes,
You'll be back
indeed.
to give us any...
Yeah, and look forward to seeing the spectacle tomorrow.
Yeah, very much so.
State of the going and everything that, and late speedway results.
Late speedway results.
And ping-pong scores from Tasmania. and places
Everything
like
you
that.
love most.